Like this clip, what happened here is no music video. The surveillance shows a McLaren sports car, Mercedes Maybach, and another Mercedes pull into this East Bay Harbor Drive condo parking lot. Guys eventually get out. The meeting about a pair of high-end sneakers for sale and some money owed. Then this. The man in the white shirt has a pistol. The man in the black sweatshirt is also pointing a weapon.
CG Lil Hank, one of Pooh Shiesty's most trusted soldiers, just switched things up in a shocking way. This is a dude who stood side by side with him during Shiesty season, a guy who came up from the ground with Choppa Gang. But now, he's been caught on camera in prison, straight up flexing a shank and hanging with EBG Jizzle, Pooh Shiesty's top op. And this is not just any group. This is the same EBG that's been clashing with Choppa Gang for years, the same ones who disrespected Pooh's late brother, the same ones taking shots at everything he built.
It was a shooting in the middle of the day involving a well-known rapper, according to police. We reported this story back in October, but now we're seeing how it all went down. Bullets fly in broad daylight. 2 people shot and over $500,000 in exotic cars, all of it caught on camera. This surveillance video is from an October 9th shooting in Bay Harbor Islands, and it has a recording artist who goes by Pooh Shiesty in hot water.
Yet Lil Hank is over there smiling, relaxed, moving like none of that history even matters. That kind of energy raises serious questions. You need to understand, this is not just internet talk. This is about loyalty, about what the Memphis streets really stand for, and whether the people around Pooh were ever truly solid. Situations like this don't just happen without meaning something deeper. Let's break it down clearly, because it gets even more intense. Before diving deeper into what Lil Hank just did, you have to understand what Pooh built and how serious that EBG conflict really was to him. Without that background, you won't fully see why this situation feels so different. Pooh, born Lontrell Donnell Williams Jr. on November 8, 1999, is from South Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis is known as one of the most dangerous cities per capita in the United States. This is not a place where street politics are for show. This is real life, where decisions come with serious consequences. No cap, the homicide rates out there rival places like Chicago. People moving around with heavy weapons like it's just another day. The gangs are real, the blocks are real, and the consequences don't go away. This is a place where every move can stick with you for life. Now, Pooh Shiesty didn't grow up soft at all. He came up in the Cane Creek Apartments in South Memphis, right alongside his childhood friend and fellow rapper Big 30. From early on, he was connected to the streets and everything that came with it. This man was already tapped in. His father was a rapper too, went by Mob Boss, and even had his own label called Mob Ties Records. So music was already in his blood, but so was that raw Memphis energy, real, unfiltered, and intense. While still in high school, Pooh linked up with his circle and created Choppa Gang. This wasn't just music, this was a full brotherhood, a tight unit where loyalty was supposed to mean everything. The people in that circle were meant to be his day ones, the ones who stay solid no matter what. Names like Lil Hank and Choppa Wop were right there from the start. These weren't just random features. These were core members who helped build Choppa Gang from nothing, back when nobody knew their names.
Shots are fired before the gunmen take off in their fancy getaway cars. The victims telling police 20-year-old Pooh Shiesty was behind the wheel of the McLaren, and he was armed with an assault rifle. Police also using these Instagram photos as part of their case. Shiesty with an assault-style rifle and cash. Shiesty, whose real name is Lontrell Williams, was arrested a few days later. He and a member of his entourage charged with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon.
Pooh Shiesty kept sharpening his skills anywhere he could, freestyling in the school lunchroom, on the block, wherever a cypher could happen. Then in 2019, he started dropping music on his own. Tracks like Hell Night, Choppa Talk, and Day One, all alongside Big 30, the same friend he grew up with. Then 2020 changed everything. Hip-hop legend Gucci Mane hit him up directly on Instagram saying, "I'm listening to your stuff. You're hard. Are you signed?" Pooh kept it real and said he was independent. And just like that, Gucci signed him to 1017 Records in partnership with Atlantic. After that, things took off fast. He dropped Monday to Sunday with Lil Baby and Big 30, teamed up with Gucci, and started landing on major projects that were pulling serious numbers. Then November 2020 hit, and everything changed with Back in Blood featuring Lil Durk. That track exploded, peaking at number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100 and going platinum in just 4 months. Just like that, Pooh Shiesty was launched into a whole different level. He was only 20 years old and already taking over the culture. By February 2021, he dropped Shiesty Season, and it made serious noise. It debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and hit number 1 on the top rap albums chart. The project was stacked with names like Lil Durk, Gucci Mane, Big 30, and 21 Savage. And yeah, Lil Hank and Chopper Wop were right there too on Big 13 Gang. Lil Hank wasn't just around, he was part of the movement. He was tied into the brand, benefiting from Pooh Shiesty's rise, eating from that same table. So when you hear what Lil Hank just did, you have to understand this history first. This wasn't some random connection. He was deeply involved in that inner circle. Now here's where it gets serious. To really understand why seeing Lil Hank with EBG Jizzle hit so hard, you need to know what EBG stands for and what that conflict meant to Pooh on a personal level. EBG, short for Eastside Bezel Gang, comes out of North Memphis. Meanwhile, Pooh Shiesty and Chopper Gang represent South Memphis. And in Memphis, where you're from carries real weight. North and South aren't just locations. They come with different alliances, different reputations, and long-standing tension. But here's the part people miss. Pooh Shiesty and EBG weren't always enemies. Pooh and EBG Jizzle actually went to Central High School together. They knew each other before the fame, before the music, before everything escalated. So how did it turn from classmates into one of the most talked about Memphis conflicts? Let me break it down clear. It all kicked off with Back in Blood. When Pooh Shiesty dropped that track with Lil Durk, people in Memphis instantly picked up on certain lines as direct shots at EBG. Especially that hook about someone knowing who took something and telling them to come get it back in blood. A lot of listeners took that as a reference to an alleged robbery. According to EBG Jizzle, in interviews, he claimed Pooh Shiesty and his team broke into one of their spots and took weapons. Pooh was rapping about it like it was a major move, like a statement play. But EBG Jizzle told a different story. He said it wasn't even that serious. Nothing major was taken and nobody was there. According to him, it got exaggerated into something bigger than it really was. Still, once it hit the music, it became something else entirely. EBG Jizzle fired back with a diss over the Back in Blood beat, and just like that, things escalated fast. What started as music turned into something way deeper. The songs became a way to send messages, but the tension behind it was real. Then things crossed a serious line. In his response, EBG Jizzle went after Pooh Shiesty's late brother, making claims and putting that situation into the mix. That's not normal rap back and forth. That's personal in a major way. In Memphis, bringing up someone's deceased family is seen as a serious violation.
Rapper Pooh Shiesty is facing prison time after pleading guilty to a gun charge in Miami federal court. The case against Lontrell Williams Jr.
Not long after that diss dropped, reports came out that EBG Jizzle was shot and seriously injured, and Pooh Shiesty didn't stay quiet about it. He went on Instagram and reacted publicly, posting things like, "Damn that diss, now he can't even walk," with laughing emojis and calling them out. He kept applying pressure online, questioning where they went and making it clear he wasn't backing down. Some people might see that differently, but in the context of what was said before, that was his response. And the streets were watching everything closely because at that point, it was way past just music. EBG Jizzle ended up getting locked up on attempted first-degree murder charges, but at first, he beat it and was out on bond. This is someone who had already faced a juvenile life sentence at just 16, beat a murder case in 2020, and still moved like nothing could touch him. That whole EBG situation never really got settled. The tension didn't disappear. It just went quiet because both sides started dealing with legal trouble. The conflict didn't end. It just went out of the spotlight. Now fast forward to when Pooh Shiesty himself got caught up. In October 2020, he was arrested in Bay Harbor Islands, Florida, tied to a shooting at a hotel during a deal that went wrong involving sneakers and weed. Surveillance footage reportedly showed everything. Authorities said he shot a 28-year-old man, and while leaving in a rented McLaren, a Louis Vuitton bag filled with over $40,000 in cash fell out of the car. That's where things got even more serious. Investigators were able to trace a $100 bill from that bag back to his Instagram account, connecting everything in a way that couldn't be ignored. In April 2022, Pooh Shiesty was sentenced to 5 years and 3 months in federal prison after taking a plea deal. He pleaded guilty to a firearm conspiracy charge, while 3 more serious charges were dropped. One of those could have led to life in prison, so that deal mattered a lot. He's been locked up since 2021, serving federal time, and even from behind bars, he's been staying active, posting, talking his talk, calling himself the King of Memphis, saying he's coming home strong and not backing down. He keeps pushing that image of loyalty and strength. But while he's been inside, people on the outside have been watching everything closely, not just what he says, but what's happening around him. especially inside those walls. And that's exactly where this CG Lil Hank situation starts to stand out. Now, this is where things take a wild turn. This moment really got people talking everywhere. CG Lil Hank. And let's be clear about who he is. CG stands for Choppa Gang. His name is directly tied to Pooh Shiesty's crew. This isn't some outsider. This is someone who was part of the movement from early on. He was on Shiesty Season, the same mixtape that debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and helped push Pooh into a whole new level. Lil Hank was on Big 13 Gang right there with Pooh and Choppa Wop. That puts him right in the middle of everything, a confirmed Choppa Gang affiliate benefiting from that rise. And now this same Lil Hank has been seen in prison, clearly holding a weapon and spending time with EBG Jizzle. Let that sink in. EBG Jizzle. And that name is not random. That EBG stands for the same group tied to that long-standing conflict. Not a different crew, not a coincidence, the exact same connection. This isn't some random or unrelated crew. This is the same EBG, Bezel Gang, the exact group Pooh Shiesty has been going against for years, the same side that disrespected his late brother, the same side he reacted to publicly when things got violent, the same side that stood opposite of everything Choppa Gang claimed to represent. And Lil Hank wasn't just caught standing nearby like it was some awkward prison placement. That's not what this looked like at all. He was flexing with a knife, posted up, looking comfortable like he was around his own people. The energy didn't look tense. It looked normal to him, like the history, the conflict, everything tied to Shiesty's name didn't matter in that moment. Once that image hit social media, it spread fast. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. And people had a lot to say right away. Some tried to defend Lil Hank, saying things like, it's normal for enemies to be cool in prison, and you gotta do what you gotta do to survive in there. But that argument doesn't fully add up. There's a clear difference between surviving and getting comfortable. There's a difference between being stuck in the same space and actually posing with someone like you're close. Those are two very different situations. In federal prison, information moves fast. People communicate, and things don't stay hidden for long. Pooh Shiesty himself has been active from behind bars, so it's not hard to imagine this reaching him quickly. Think about it. If Lil Hank was just trying to stay out of trouble and avoid issues, that's one discussion. Prison environments are complicated, no doubt. You don't always choose who you're around, and sometimes staying neutral is part of staying safe. But this didn't look neutral. This looked like something else entirely. And that's why people are questioning it so heavy. People who've really been through the system understand how things can work in there. Survival is real, and sometimes you have to move carefully. But this situation, flexing a knife with EBG Jizzle and taking pictures that hit social media, that's not just survival, that's a statement. That sends a message whether Lil Hank meant it or not. It makes it look like the conflict Pooh Shiesty risked everything over didn't hold the same weight to him. It puts Choppa Gang loyalty into question and makes it seem like that loyalty has limits, especially behind those walls. Now here's where everything started connecting and people really started reacting. Look at the timeline closely. Pooh Shiesty is serving 63 months in federal prison, and the whole time he's been speaking on loyalty, saying things like real recognize real and pushing the idea of staying solid. He even wrote from behind bars, "Dear streets, use me as an example of what keeping it solid and standing on wax look like. I stamp it." That's someone who truly believes in his circle. That's someone trusting his people to hold things down the same way he is. He's been talking about coming home ready, saying he's got multiple albums lined up and plans to make a strong return. He's doing his time while believing his team is staying true to the code. Then this situation drops. Lil Hank, tied to Choppa Gang, seen with EBG Jizzle, posing with a blade inside, looking completely comfortable. That contrast is what has people talking. And there's one detail that stands out heavy, the knife. That's not random. In prison culture, that carries meaning. And what makes it even deeper is that Pooh Shiesty himself once said his enemies would need to step their knife and overall game up before coming at him. So seeing that image with that specific detail adds another layer to the whole situation. It's not just about who he was with. It's about how it looked and what it represents. You don't just casually flex a shank in a photo with someone unless there's real comfort there. That's not neutral. That's not just survival. That looks like alignment. That kind of image sends a message whether it's intended or not. Once that hit the internet, people started digging deeper. The big question was simple. Is this a one-time situation or part of a bigger pattern? Because in hip-hop, sometimes someone slips once, and that's it. But when you zoom out and look at the full picture, things start to feel different. People began asking who was really around Pooh Shiesty before he got locked up, who benefited from his rise, and who's been active while he's been gone. And when those questions come up, the answers aren't always easy. Here's the real part. When someone goes to federal prison for a long stretch, their circle gets tested in ways you can't fake. Money moves differently, opportunities shift, and loyalty gets pushed to the limit. Some people stay solid and hold everything down. Others start moving different when the situation changes. And then there are those who drift toward people they were never supposed to align with, especially when pressure builds. Pooh Shiesty has been keeping his image strong the whole time. Even from inside, he's been talking like nothing stopped. On a call, he even said, "I'm locked up, not messed up," making it clear he still sees himself in control. He's been showing love to artists like Lil Baby and Lil Durk, shouting out those who stayed consistent with him. That shows who's been real during his time away. But that CG in Lil Hank's name stands for Choppa Gang, the same group he was supposed to represent fully. And now, with everything being seen, people are questioning what that label really means at this point. That CG label seems to mean something very different to Lil Hank than it does to Pooh Shiesty. And to be fair, this isn't about just going at Lil Hank for no reason. The streets have their own code, and prison has its own reality too. There are people who will argue that in the federal system, especially in controlled units, you don't always get to choose who you're around. Sometimes you're forced to be near people you have issues with just to avoid bigger problems. That perspective is real, and it deserves to be acknowledged. But that still doesn't explain everything. It doesn't explain the photo. It doesn't explain the relaxed energy. And it definitely doesn't explain flexing a weapon next to someone tied to EBG. That kind of moment suggests a level of comfort that goes beyond just coexisting. Because when it looks like there's trust there, that's where people draw the line. Trusting someone connected to your side's rivals while your own people are locked up and expecting loyalty, that's why many see it as crossing a boundary. So what happened next? How did Pooh Shiesty react to all this? That's where things really got interesting. The image spread everywhere fast. Fans started tagging him, sending it around, making sure it reached the right people. In today's world, nothing stays hidden. Information moves instantly. And once something is out there, it's out there for good. There's no keeping things quiet, especially not when the internet gets involved. And here's what you need to understand about Pooh Shiesty. He's not known for staying silent. He's responded publicly to situations before, speaking out and making his stance clear even from behind bars. He's posted messages, made statements, and kept his presence felt the whole time. Whether through direct words or indirect shots, he's shown he's still paying attention. This isn't someone who just watches and says nothing. So when a situation like this pops up, people naturally expect some kind of reaction. So based on how things usually go in the streets and how Pooh Shiesty has moved in the past, the word is he's completely done with Lil Hank. Not upset, not "we'll talk later," but fully cut off. When Pooh Shiesty makes that kind of decision, it's final, no back and forth. Looking at his track record, seeing someone close to him posted up with a known rival in that kind of setting is something he wouldn't take lightly at all. Situations like that tend to lead to immediate distance, no questions asked. Now some people are trying to look at it from another angle, saying maybe it's not as serious as it looks. Maybe there's context missing. Maybe Lil Hank just ended up in a bad situation at the wrong time. And that's fair to consider, because prison is complicated. Federal systems bring all kinds of people together, and you don't always control who you're around or how things play out. That part is real and can't be ignored. But what really stands out is how it looks. In street culture, perception can carry just as much weight as reality. How something appears can shape how people move, how they're viewed, and how others respond to them. If someone connected to you is seen looking comfortable with people you've had serious issues with, especially while you're locked up talking about loyalty, that image can change how everything is viewed. Pooh Shiesty built his name on being authentic and standing on what he says. That image is a huge part of his identity. Being connected to Gucci Mane's label also added to that, with a strong focus on recognizing real in the culture. Even while locked up, he's been pushing that message about staying solid when it matters most, about not switching up and being consistent no matter the situation. So when someone tied to his own circle ends up in a moment like this, it creates a strong contrast. And that contrast is exactly why people are reacting the way they are. That kind of situation hits on a level that's hard to explain. You're locked behind federal walls doing 63 months, can't move, can't react, just watching it all play out. You're trusting your circle to hold everything down. And then someone tied directly to your name is seen around people who disrespected your family. The streets pick up on it fast, and once the internet gets involved, it spreads everywhere. At that point, it's not private anymore, it's public, and everybody's got an opinion. Now zoom out for a second, because this isn't just about Lil Hank. This situation connects to something bigger in hip-hop, especially in Memphis. Memphis has always had a reputation for being one of the most authentic cities in rap. When artists from there speak on street life, people take it seriously because it reflects real conditions. The struggle is real, the risks are real, and the consequences are serious. Making it out of Memphis takes more than talent. Artists like Young Dolph, Yo Gotti, Moneybagg Yo, and now Pooh Shiesty all came from tough environments and built real success. That background plays a big role in why their music connects the way it does. But here's where things shift. When someone rises from those conditions to fame, not everyone around them grows in the same way. The lifestyle changes, the opportunities change, and the pressure changes too. Some people adapt, but others don't handle that transition well. Success brings new challenges, and when legal trouble enters the picture, it tests everyone connected to that situation in different ways. And that's where situations like this start to happen, when the gap between loyalty, pressure, and reality becomes harder to manage. The ones who were there from the start don't always stay solid when things get tested. Some people are around when everything is building, but when pressure hits, they show a different side. Lil Hank was supposed to be more than just someone on a track. Being on Shiesty season wasn't what made him solid. That project was supposed to be the reward for already being solid. And now it's making people wonder if that reward came before everything was truly proven. And this isn't new in hip-hop at all. It's a pattern people have seen again and again. Someone rises, brings their circle up with them, gives opportunities, puts everyone in position. Then when things fall apart or legal issues hit, that same circle starts to shift. The people who depended on that spotlight begin making moves that show who they really are when things aren't the same. Now add the EBG situation into this, and it gets even more complicated, because there's a bigger question people aren't really asking out loud. Is that conflict between Choppa Gang and EBG still active right now? Does that tension still exist in the same way in 2025? Here's where it gets interesting. Pooh Shiesty was released early on October 6th, 2025. Then in December 2025, he dropped his comeback single FDEO, and it hit number 22 on the Billboard Hot 100. That means he's back outside, back active, and back in the spotlight. So, if Lil Hank was building any kind of connection with EBG Jizzle while Pooh was locked up, and now Pooh is free, that situation becomes a real conversation. And those kinds of conversations aren't always simple, especially in Memphis. There's history, emotions, and reputation all tied into it. Before coming home, Pooh Shiesty even spoke from behind bars in a 2023 interview on $1 Million Worth of Game, giving insight into his mindset. He made it clear in his own words, "I'm back for revenge for sure. Get out the way or get ran over, get down or get put up. Y'all know how I'm coming." That's not subtle at all. That's direct energy. He also said he had 5 to 6 albums ready, and that nobody in the game was ready for what he was bringing back. That doesn't sound like someone coming home to smooth things over. That sounds like someone stepping back in with intensity. That kind of mindset doesn't line up with brushing things off. Seeing a Choppa Gang member posted up with EBG Jizzle isn't something that just gets ignored. Based on how Pooh Shiesty has handled situations before, he doesn't move like that. Even while locked up, he was responding to things and making his stance known. So, being back outside brings a whole different level of presence and attention. People have been talking about this for a while now, and when he said he was coming back with pressure, many believe that applies across the board, not just toward rivals, but toward anyone who moved different while he was gone. Now let's address what some fans are saying, because it's a real discussion. The main defense for Lil Hank is that prison politics are different. In that environment, you don't always control who you're around. Situations can force people into close proximity with individuals they wouldn't deal with on the outside. And in federal facilities especially, people from all kinds of backgrounds and situations end up in the same space. That can blur lines that would normally stay clear on the outside. Some people really argue that it's smarter, even safer, to drop the tension inside and just coexist. When you're locked up, outnumbered, and in a place you don't control, survival becomes the main focus. And real talk, there is some truth to that. Anyone familiar with the system knows the rules inside don't always match what happens outside. Situations change depending on where you are and who's around you. You could have issues in Memphis, but end up in a federal facility in a whole different state dealing with new alliances and new pressures. Self-preservation is real, and sometimes people move different because of that. But here's the part that stands out heavy. Even if you accept all of that, the photo changes everything. If someone is just trying to stay low and avoid problems, they're not taking pictures. If the goal is to keep things neutral, they're not posing with a weapon next to someone tied to that kind of history. By now, Everybody knows how fast images spread. People know that anything captured like that can end up everywhere. Once it's out, it's out. So the fact that the photo exists and made its way around doesn't feel accidental. It looks like a decision, whether fully thought out or not. And that decision sends a message. It can come across like Lil Hank isn't worried about how it looks, or doesn't think any reaction will come from it. And that's exactly why people are looking at this situation so closely. And both of those possibilities are a serious issue for someone who put his name on a Pooh Shiesty record and claimed Choppa Gang. That title is supposed to stand for something, and situations like this put that into question. Now here's another layer people keep missing. This wasn't just any EBG member. This was EBG Jizzle, someone widely recognized as a key figure in that side. That makes the situation even more intense. This wasn't just being around someone loosely connected. This was being seen with someone viewed as a major face of the opposition. That's a completely different level. It's like if someone from one major camp was suddenly seen posted up with a core figure from the other side during a heated situation. Not a random link, but someone directly tied to that tension. People who follow this closely know exactly who's who. And in today's world, the internet definitely keeps track of those connections. So when images like that surface, looking relaxed and comfortable, it's hard to explain it any other way. What you see is what you see, and people are going to interpret it based on that. This whole situation leaves a lot of questions hanging, and it's not something people are just going to ignore anytime soon. If you've been following this story, drop your thoughts below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with others who are tapped in, because this conversation is far from over.